Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing my VCT Pacific power rankings for week 3. I'm going to be going through all 11 teams, ranking them into these 5 tiers. I do this every week, so like and subscribe if you enjoy. It really helps me out. Go follow my Twitter, where I just post like reactions to certain games or things going around in the community, and also my weekly player rankings updates. So go check that out if you're interested in that. Also go check out my Twitch for VOD reviews. I do those sometimes. I haven't done them as much recently. I need to start doing them more um, on there. Both links to those are in the description, so go check those out, and let's get right into it. So there isn't really much movement this week for any of the Pacific teams in my power rankings. We'll start with bad. Jesus, almost dropped my notebook. I'm going to continue though. We'll start with a bad tier with Bleed and GE. Staying the same as last week. I mean, these are easily the 2 worst teams in Pacific. Probably the 2 worst teams in all of franchising, maybe outside of Koi and Furia. I think Koi might be in that conversation. Furia, I think, is slightly better than these 2 teams, but it's not a big difference. All those teams are terrible. I don't know. GE's owner is tweeting about like up and coming Indian like Valorant prospects, so they're probably going to just drop their whole team and make it all Indian and just develop Indian players at the tier 1 level, which don't mind. I think that's a good move, and it seems to be what the fan base wants. And then Bleed, I think, is also in a really weird spot where they're not going to win this year, but I don't know what they're going to do in terms of making roster moves to potentially contend for a top Pacific spot if they want to make use of this Ascension slot. Like, if they don't do well in the rest of this year into next year, then they're just going to have to go back to tier 2 and figure it out there. Like, it's just really bad for them. Both of these teams, they're in terrible spots. GE more with the roster and Bleed more with the organization, but still very, very weird spots for both these teams, and they're just not good. Then moving on to this have some good players tier, because I think these are 2 teams that aren't really going to do too much this year, but do have some pieces to rebuild around going into next year, where we have DFM at number 9. They just got completely diffed by Genji. Like, you can still see that there's good ideas there and there's good protocols, and like they have an idea of what they're doing out there, unlike last year, but they just don't have the firepower to contend with some of these top teams in Pacific. Like May, still the GOAT. I still think he's really good. I think Medusa could be a piece into next year if he plays well in some of these following games. Maybe Anthem as an IGL, but that's even pushing it at that point. Like, I don't know. I don't think that, I mean, this team isn't winning anything until they make some roster changes, but I do like how they're kind of set up to be significantly better than last year, and even better than they are this year into next year, if that makes sense. Kind of just said year a bunch of times, but I think that made sense. Then moving on to Talon, also staying put, but I'm moving them down a tier here, kind of, I guess. I don't know. They were terrible in the first like map and a half of that GE series. Like, they genuinely looked like they were going to lose that game. They just had so many bad moments from their players, but I think a lot of these players show flashes, specifically Governor and Ban. Those are the 2 players that I think would be under this like good players name in this tier. I think the rest of the roster is fine, but I don't know if this roster and coaching staff is ever going to take you anywhere to be like a contender in Pacific. I don't think they'll be one this year, definitely, but maybe everything clicks next split and maybe they finally get over the hump. But I don't see them getting out of this like bottom half of Pacific even. Yeah, I don't know. They make too many mistakes. Like, it's just not good from this team most of the time, but there are definitely good moments from them. I kind of wanted them to put them in the show flashes tier, but they're not like as good as the 2 teams in there, so I didn't. And now onto the aforementioned show flashes tier, where we are going to start with Zeta Division moving down 1 spot. I think this team could be so good. I think they need a coach or an IGL to come in here and just like add a lot more structure into how they play. because I really don't think Laz is cutting it as a caller, and if he is going to, they need to bring in an insane coach, which I don't know about anything in Japan. They brought in a imported coach, and that didn't work clearly. So I don't know. I think it is better than last year. I think these new players, Hero and Euron, do definitely show flashes. I think they're the main reason that this is what the tier is called, where they have good maps, where they play really, really well, disciplined, hit their shots, everything like that. But there's also some maps where one or both of them just don't have hands. And that's just not going to cut it at this point. I think you want to give them more time until like the second split and everything because they have had really good games. You just want to see that come around more consistently. And I think since they're two young players, that will eventually happen. Not every rookie is going to be insane immediately. Like not every rookie is going to be Demon One. Not every rookie is going to be, I don't know, whatever rookie's popping off this year. I don't remember. Yeah, just give them more time. Maybe they need to get rid of one of them because you're not getting rid of Laz, even if he's not going to call anymore. Because he's too good of an individual. He's still really good. Dep's really good. I do think this team has kind of been getting exposed in terms of their chamber comps, specifically against Team Secret on Sunset. I thought they did a very good job of manipulating the map against Zeta. And I think that was kind of where the IGLing got exposed, especially against an actually good IGL. Like every time Laz has gone up against a solid IGL or a solid called team in Paper X, like I remember last year they just got picked apart by NRG, and that was just not ideal. And then people were freaking out about Dep's performance against who was it? Was it RRQ? It might have been Team Secret. I don't remember exactly who. Oh, no, it was against Bleed. That's who it was. And yeah, he really wasn't hitting shots as much as he does, but like when he needed to win a round, when he needed to make a play, he would. And that was about all he did. So I'm not freaking out about Depp. He'll be fine. He'll go straight back to putting up some of the best stats in Pacific next week, so I really don't care. And then the other team in this tier is Team Secret. Just the most remarkably average team in this tier. I do think they are getting better, though. Or not in this tier, in the league. I do think they looked a lot better this week, though. When Vash is on Sova, they just win. Like, that's just how it works. And as I said, they did a really good job, like, exposing some of Zeta's comps. On Lotus, not as much. I think the chamber is a little bit better on there to take more, like, the mound control and everything like that. So, or, like, lock down one half of the map, either A or C. That's very good. So, I don't know. I think they'll continue to get better, but I don't know if this roster is going to get them into the next couple tiers, just like it did last year. Like, I think there's a capped ceiling when you have, like, Jeremy as your duelist and Borkham as your smokes, and even NDG as your sentinel now. Like, this team does not have the firepower to contend with top teams, I don't think. I thought Zeta was going to outshoot them last week. They were able to contend with Zeta, but I think that was more of Zeta playing poorly. But I don't know. I have been lower on Secret this year. I was a lot higher on them last year than most people. Especially like after kickoff, I was like, yes, this is a top 4 team in Pacific. This team is really good. Everything like that. So, and I was on the train that they were going to win LCQ as well. So, I don't know. Call me a hater if you want. I'm just not. I love Envy. I love Vash. Two really nice players, but I don't know about the rest of the roster here. Now onto the great teams tier, where we're going to start with T1. And I do feel like it is going to be a little weird for them to drop down after how they played against RRQ. And I don't think it's necessarily their fault. I think it's just the next team looking better than them. I think the IGL switch was very good for them. Like, they looked so good in that RRQ game. Like, so structured, so, like, decisive, I think is the right word. Whereas, like, in the DFM game when Carpe was IGLing in Ascent, like, it was just a night and day difference. That was one of the worst called games I've seen this year. It was just bad. I do want to see more from this team after the IGL switch. I want to see them do it again. But I do believe that they can. That's why they're in this tier. Um, and yeah, the only other thing is they looked really bad in that DRX game. Like, I think DRX was doing a little bit of trolling on that second half of Breeze, and then other than that, like, I don't know, they just didn't do anything T1. So I don't know. Moving on, I do have RRQ over T1 despite T1 beating them last week. This isn't a head-to-head power ranking. This isn't a standings power ranking. So um, that's why I have RRQ ahead. I think RRQ will be better against more teams than T1 right now, at least. And yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird, but I think they got thrown off by the IGL switch because the style was so different from T1 that you just can't expect that out of or from if you're RRQ. So I don't really blame them for that. Uh, they dismantled Bleed, like they fucking rolled them, and then the Elmimore initiator with the role swaps. I mean, maybe not even just Elmimore. The whole team just looks so much better on their roles, like week to week. So if Elmimore can continue shooting like he did last week, um, this team is going to be sick. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be at the same level, but I do think the utility got a lot better from him as well. So it wasn't just the shooting. And I just feel so good about RRQ right now. I don't know. I think the calling looks good, mostly. They were doing some trolling in the T1 game, I won't lie. But I think if they had played against the Carpe IGL T1, they would have won still. So, I don't know. Just a weird game to like rank teams off of. So, I'm just going to give RRQ a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt when they're staying the same going into next week kind of thing. Then DRX, I mean, what is there to say about this team? Just a consistent team that I expected going into the split. Like, a lot of people were telling me I had them too high in third. Wait, did I even have them third? I might have had them fourth. No, I definitely had them third. I don't know. This Bane looks good. I really thought his attack side Yoru, I think it was. Yeah, it was attack side. That looked really good. Like, genuinely one of the better Yorus in Pacific, if not the world. But on the defense side, it looked a little lost. I expect that to be fixed. It's DRX. It will be. And I just think all the individuals are hitting right now. Buzz had an insane game. Mako's playing like by far the best smokes player in the world. Maybe Marv can contend. Maybe Tens can contend if you count Tens as smokes player. But other than that, like, I don't know, man. Stacks is even playing better. Foxy's Sentinel looks really good, I think. And yeah, this team just, I don't think they're quite a international like championship contender. I think they'll go and they'll perform decently and then get knocked out, but I think they're a very, very good team. And then the top two teams here, not moving, Gen G and Paper Rex. How I've had it from the beginning. I don't think there's much analysis needed here, honestly. There's nothing that I haven't said in past videos. There's nothing that nobody has said. It's just these are the top two teams without much contest. Like, I don't think DRX will beat Gen G this week. I don't think like anybody is beating Paper X in Pacific, other than maybe Gen G, who had a close game. Like, that game was fun. I do think Paper X did a lot of trolling on Lotus. I do think Gen G did a lot of trolling on Icebox. So, and yeah, they were just not good on Bind. Like, that game was chalked from the beginning after they lost Icebox. So, I don't know. You'd like to see Gen G's like mental get a little bit better, but I don't know. Like, these are the top two teams in Pacific. They have probably the best individual players across the board at every role, outside of Smokes with Mako. And yeah, I mean, again, not much more to be said, honestly. So let me know what you guys think of these power rankings in the comments below. Literally 4 teams moving, and they all moved 1 spot each. So hopefully we get 0 teams moving next week. I think that would actually be sick. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.